Tuesday again, folks. Hello to all my little TeaFlix friends. Nice. I mean, these weeks just zip by, don't they?
It's amazing. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, aren't you bored being at home?"
Oh no.
I mean, I literally am busier than I've been, and I keep thinking, "Oh, I'll treat myself to an hour doing a bit of gardening today." Whatever. It never happens.
No, I know. Yeah.
It just never happens. And in my defense, it's because a lot of our friends and clients and potential clients are working from home. They're having technological questions. How do I do this? They don't have an IT department to help them. So, of course, who do they think? Who do they think might know? Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't. But you know, another day, another ruble.
Exactly.
Or another loony, which leads me into my Canadian world.
Oh, loonies.
This week's guest.
Yes, okay. So, am I going to tell folks who it is, or are we going to keep them waiting in suspenders?
Well, you should keep them waiting for Luc and Sue. Oh, let it out the bag.
Oh.
Anyway, so this week we have joining us by Zoom, the miracle of technology, because Facebook's old joining thing didn't work anymore. So we did a workaround with Zoom, which is great. And it is Chef Luc McCabe that we met last year in August in Houston at 10,000 Bites.
That's right.
So he is a large Canadian gentleman, former football player, is that right, Martin?
Yeah.
I believe. And his gorgeous partner, Sue. And they actually, he was, at the time, he was the chef at the Nav Center in Toronto, Ontario. And they thought, well, no guts, no glory. They upped and moved to a little town called Finch, charming little place in Ontario. And they've opened the Finch Market, never knowing that they would now be the providers.
Oh, I know.
Of the staple.
Talk about right place, right time.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't checked out the Finch Market, and all of our 10,000 Bites family already know and already have, thefinchmarket.ca for Canada. And of course, I'm going to have to tell my horrible...
Oh, here we go again. Mm-hmm. Go on then.
You know how you spell Canada? C-A-N-A-D-A.
A.
See? Anyway, without further ado, Luc McCabe is joining us today via Zoom. He is the chef, owner, butcher, mastermind, along with the lovely Sue Stewart. And do we have you on there, Luc? Hello, joining.
Come on down.
Come on, have you paid the electric bill up in Canada?
I hope so.
Oh, here they come now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chef Luc and Sue, for taking the time out of your busy, crazy life to join us on TeaFlix today.
It's lovely to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's certainly the pleasure is ours.
So, for the audience,
how are things where you guys are?
Well, you know, it's 72, sunny and partly boring. How about you?
That's true. It's kind of everywhere that the partly boring adds on. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's good. It's very busy here.
Good.
Enjoying as much time as we can with each other, because it's certainly a lot, but yeah, it's good.
So for the audience, Angie and I met these two lovely folks in Houston, Texas last August, when we all did this crazy around the world in 10,000 Bites event at the Houston Natural History Museum. And I was just wondering, how did you, that's okay. That's all right. I can repeat it and then we can chop it. We all met last year in Houston when we were at the Houston
10,000 Bites.
10,000 Bites, correct? Yeah. So how did you get involved with that whole dinner event, Luc?
I was invited down by Dave Duarte to kind of help him out and be his kind of right-hand man with kind of logistics. Being as I had Dave up to Canada at the Nav Center with me for a couple dinners throughout the years. We'd introduced some A5 Wagyu to everybody, and with him and Steve Brown and myself, we kind of brought it up to Canada and kind of trying to, you know, just spread the love of A5, and then we just developed a really good friendship between each other. And again, fortunate enough to be asked to go to Houston, and I definitely wasn't going to miss it for anything. And it was incredible, an incredible time.
It was, yeah.
It was quite the amazing feat, and all of the having all of you Wagyu meisters in one room was pretty much of a thrill for me.
Yeah.
We are the meat-eating McCartneys. We're not the vegetarian half of the family.
The other half, yeah.
Yeah, and I think an event like that was so special too, because we were all a bunch of chefs that are kind of all top dogs in our respected areas, and to be able to come in and just kind of gel with one another and learn from each other was, I think, the biggest thing. I mean, like I said before, I was kind of in awe. I felt like I was kind of Spider-Man going to play with the Avengers, because these guys are some pretty big heavy hitters and some big name chefs.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, it was just amazing to develop friendships with these guys. And I mean, we're all still on Instagram messaging each other back and forth, and, you know, just kind of waiting for David and I guess all this other stuff to blow over and kind of give us the where and when. And I think we're all down to be there again and do whatever we need to do to have some more fun.
That's right. So you, last year on the 10,000 Bites event, you worked on Team France on the French plate. Tell the folks a little bit about what you prepared, and also the other chefs who were both amazing as well. And how did you three collaborate long distance before you'd ever even got together on who was going to make what on the plate?
Yeah, so I was really fortunate enough to be on Team France. I got to work with Jason Earcorn and Aaron Bloodhorn. So some great chefs. I mean, Aaron's a Michelin guy, and Jason, obviously, Jeremiah Towers, you know, kind of right-hand man for a little while there. Those two guys, pretty intimidating. You know, so I think the first conference call we had with David, and all of us, kind of the two Davids and the Team France, you know, I just sat and listened, you know, and kind of took it all in, and you know, then decided, okay, well, we kind of brainstormed about 50 different things we could do. And then through various emails, we were able to narrow that down to kind of 3 dishes each person, which was really awesome. Because I wasn't sure how it was going to work. And I mean, I was totally good with doing anything these guys wanted. It didn't have to be me do 3 dishes, them do 3. I would have been good with doing whatever they said. So I was lucky enough. I did a cassoulet. I also did a French onion soup. And then my third dish was, I'm gonna draw a blank now. French onion soup, the cassoulet, and the tartare, the A5 tartare. Yeah, actually, absolutely. So kind of Japanese French, I guess. But yeah, so it was really cool to do that. And I knew that I was going down early to kind of help with David. So, you know, I just kind of spent a couple weeks researching everything France and French oriented that I could on those 3 dishes, so that I could try and get ahead on some things to be able to help out, you know, wherever. And just to meet these guys was incredible. You know, obviously, you know, Team France, you know, we wanted the whole event to be remembered, but we wanted you to remember our plate too. We're chefs, we're competitive. So it was nice to be with 2 other guys that had that passion and brought everything they had. And, you know, I think we put down a great plate, and obviously contributed to a great night. But yeah, those 2 guys were incredible.
Yeah, and Sue, you came along for the ride. What was your impression when you first walked into the kitchen at the Hotel Zaza and just saw all these incredible chefs and helpers? Mind-blowing, right?
It was absolutely mind-blowing, and it was a lot of fun. But my nervousness comes with, get out of the way. Don't get in their way. So I tried to stay out of the kitchen as much as I could, because you guys were filming. They were all getting to know each other and learning of their dishes and figuring out the kitchen itself. So I tried to stay really in the background for most of it, but it was still fun once in a while to sneak in and have a peek.
Well, and I think also with it, you know, it was such a stressy week, and the weather was crazy, and then we had that crazy power out on show day. I think it's nice to have your partner there too, just because when you have a few minutes to decompress, just, you know, afterwards and go grab a beer or something to eat, it's great that, like, I was there with Martin and I had my mom there. It's just great to have your partner there to lean on, and just say, you know, oh my God, I still have all this work to do. Am I going to make it? You know, I think
that's actually when the Moscow Mules came out.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we should have been drinking today. Maybe afterwards. You never know. So at that point, Chef, you were obviously at the Nav Center as the executive chef up there, but you were also thinking even last year about transitioning out of that and into what is now the Finch Market, correct?
Yeah, it was, I mean, I had been, I guess, at Nav almost 7-8 years at that point, and we had done a lot. I was very fortunate to have a couple of really great sous chefs and a great management team that really backed my passion and my vision and you know, contributed to that. So yeah, I turned into doing a lot of open fire stuff, and we had some really cool big festivals and events. You know, we cooked for 700 people outside, everything open fire. We did another event where we cooked like 60 briskets for people. It was a lot of fun to do some things on some very big level there, but you know, with that takes a big toll too. You know, you're obviously there a lot, and you know, your home life suffers a little bit. And that's, you know, it's all good at the time, but I think looking at it long term, we just decided we needed something that was a little bit more, you know, more control in a sense of our own wants, which is more family time. Yes.
So anyway, you were saying you wanted stuff that had more family time involved. So how did you decide? I mean, I would have thought that running a market, a deli, a liquor store, a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker would be more work than the Nav Center.
I mean, from the outside looking in, yes. We got very lucky, and we were able to actually purchase, well, actually keep on the old owner. So the old owner is actually our manager. So she's kind of running the day-to-day operations and is very familiar with kind of how it works, because she kind of owned the place for the last couple of years. So we were able to keep the same butcher, keep all the same staff. So really what we've been able to do is just kind of come in and add on to already all the hard work that had already been done and already been started by Karen and Duncan and her team. And the greatest thing is, you know, we've just kind of added myself to it and added Sue to it. And we've got her son working here as well, you know, kind of part-time. And Alex and Miles come out, you know, before all this started, and they'd stock shelves on days off or after. So, you know, we were able to bring the family out and be a part of it. You know, and again, with having the structure that was here with the right people in place, that was a big decision to do this. I don't think if Karen stayed on, and Ron and Penny and Eva and Linda, I don't know if we would have necessarily maybe did the purchase.
You have to mention my mother.
And your mother, Edith. Yes, she's supposed to be retired, but she's here every single day. It's awesome.
As soon as we took over the store, my mother said, I'm retired now, but she still shows up to volunteer every single morning in the baking department.
Yeah, and then we've got Sue's dad, who's our resident handyman. So, in all honesty, we see more of the family now than we ever did. You know, because we're making it be that way. Obviously the COVID stuff's thrown a bit of a wrench in it. We don't have the kids out here at all, you know, anymore during this time. And, you know, our procedures when we have the kids, you know, when they come back to us being in split homes is a lot different. You know, we're a lot more, you know, procedures and stuff at home to make sure that we're disinfecting and stuff when we come home. So
I actually make him strip naked at the back door before he comes in. He has to Lysol himself down.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yes. As long as you're not drinking the disinfectant.
No. We'll save that. We'll leave that to you guys.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
We as Canadians have not had that advice yet.
Yes.
No, I doubt that Mr. Trudeau will be recommending Trump teenies anytime soon.
Yeah. So yeah.
So what's a typical? Obviously, I know Sue is in the she just modestly said the baking department, and you guys turn out some incredible looking stuff. And you're in charge of, well, you're both in charge of the whole thing, but with your A5 Wagyu background, you know, what else have you done to the old Finch market, and how have you elevated it, and how is the community taking that on board?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've introduced some things, you know, that probably people never thought would be at the Finch market, you know, A5 Japanese Wagyu being one. So it's been, I think, a very good response. I think one of the main things that we try and do is we're trying to keep part of the store still geared towards our locals and still geared towards the people that were here many years before us. And I mean, well, you're kind of a local, so being grown up here. So, and then the other part of it is just bringing in all the things that I really love as a chef, and the things that kind of I like to use. And I mean, the stuff that I would search for on my day off, you know, the meat department being an example of it. If I wanted to go smoke a full brisket, it was a process to go get one. Well, I want to be a butcher shop that has them. So, you know, you can come in and pick up a brisket and go home and smoke it that day or tomorrow or whatever you want to do. So we deal with, you know, a lot of, we're trying to start to deal with a lot of boutique farmers in Canada for the most part. You know, obviously bringing in stuff from Japan, and, you know, I want to bring in Australian Wagyu. I'm bringing in some Snake River Farm stuff from America. So we're really trying to become that Wagyu shop. I want to try and have it all. And then obviously another big component of that is spiceology. Spiceology flavors are out of this world. They kind of changed my chef profile my last couple of years using them at Nav. And it was just kind of a no-brainer. Justin O'Neill has been amazing to be able to always make sure that I know the new products coming in and shipping to me, and working out all that kind of logistics and fun stuff of it. But it's taken off like wildfire. And again, during the pandemic, people are home more, they're cooking. So, it kind of goes hand in hand, and being able to offer such a great product is awesome. And, we're even starting to ship Canada wide. So we're really trying to work on being that spot. We're going to work on, hopefully in the next, month or two, we'll be able to have the majority of our store online, so that we can start to ship, easier Canada wide, and, have our levels and stuff there. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The other thing we're doing is we have a Live Fit, which is kind of a healthy eating, frozen food, kind of convenience food on the go that you can bring in, that we're offering for people. Very good products, very chef driven, made very fresh, shipped out kind of the same time they're made, flash frozen type deal. But again, during a time like this, people, maybe that aren't used to cooking and rely on fast food or eating out, these are other options that they can take advantage of here at the market.
Yes, in fact, our key sponsor last year for 10,000 Bites, Simple 123, we're working with Dan, who is just a brilliant visionary, and he's setting up something similar with a direct-to-consumer idea that involves, it's very chef-driven stuff. So as soon as we're a little further down the road on that, I will definitely get you involved, because I think, you have to find the bright side in every crap situation, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things about this whole COVID-19 situation, it's made us all realize the world is just one place and we all have to get along and live on it. And secondly, families are spending time together. They're learning how to cook, and children are learning about the value of food. And, if you want more potatoes, plant a potato. Guess what? They grow. They don't just come out of a window in a French fry box.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it is really bringing people together, and giving people a sense of a newfound passion in some. I mean, some people are going to hate it, and I get that. But for the most part, I think it's, from what you see on Instagram, I mean, the bake shops and bakers, when bread stores reopen, well, get ready, because there's going to be a lot of home chefs that can make a mean sourdough.
Yeah.
And that's actually what's great about having him here, is that there's a lot of people coming in for flour, for yeast. We're quite sold out of it most times. It's hard to get it in the area. But when they come in, they're always asking tips on whether it is baking, which he's not a huge baker, but he knows how to do it. But when it comes to baking and cooking, he's right there to ask. You've got a chef right on the spot. So it's been very well received here, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about speaking of Wagyu, your trip to Japan. That was a whirlwind trip. You were in and out in a number of days, weren't you? I mean, that must have been crazy.
Yeah. So again, super fortunate, again, through Steve and Dave. I was able to meet Justin from Trex, and they were amazing, and they were the ones that were able to kind of help me out and get me over to Japan, and go through the whole process. So it was quick. It was, kind of 7 days ish, I guess we were there. But it was very, very packed, very full days. We landed. We went back to the hotel. We kind of met up with everybody, and we were handed some books and here's some information, and start reading. So, we were on the bus tomorrow morning, and we're going to do butcher demos, and we're going to go cut some meat, and we're going to do yield tests and all these other fun things, and, kind of work towards getting certified, and, representing kind of the good word of, Wagyu, and, going through how it's raised, meeting the farmers, seeing the farms, going to the slaughterhouses, seeing it from start to finish, which was very, very informative for me, and the care that's really given to these animals, and how important it is that they are brought up properly. And there's no stress to these animals. They're like pets. They're raised almost like pets, not as though they're raised for food consumption. They're with that passion of a pet versus it. And it's, it speaks through the meat. it's incredible.
Yeah, you can taste the love. I mean, it's all in the marbling and the fat and this, that, and the other. Now, how many Wagyu certified people are there in Canada? Is there like one in every village or one in every town, or how does it work?
So I believe I'm the fourth chef in Canada.
Wow.
That's certified. Yeah. And the first in the East Coast, or the eastern side of Canada. It's mostly the West Coast guys that have it right now. And then obviously on my trip, I went with some distributors and I went with some, purchasers from Canada, which was great because then again, we're building that connection. It's great if the guys can purchase it and bring it in, but they kind of need guys like myself and, some other guys to get it out there, to cook with it, to use it, to sell it. I was fortunate to go, with Sean King and Edward from out in LA, a few other great chefs that are using this product and, pushing it. And, that's the cool part about it, is just trying to spread the word about it and people know that it's here. And I hear that all the time is, you've got A5 Wagyu in Finch. We'll get these phone calls from guys in Montreal and other side of Ottawa. And I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, drive down, come see me, and, we'll make it worth your while type deal. So, it's been a lot of fun. And the trip was, again, we learned so much in such a short time. It was very serious. We got to go out and experience the culture a couple nights, which was great. But for the most part, we were really pushed and really challenged on the knowledge and kind of the all the good stuff of Wagyu.
The tradition of it. I will actually be sending you guys some samples of, it's a new product from a friend of ours, Chef Jason Levine. I was talking about it last week. It's called Texas Tokyo. He's born and raised in Texas, but he is a sushi chef. He's a Jewish kid from West Texas, and he's a sushi chef in Los Angeles. And he has his own mesquite and wood soaked recipes, and he smokes both albacore and trout. And it's vacuum sealed, vacuum packed, and it's shelf stable, non-refrigerated for 3 weeks. And so I'll send you some up there and see. He's just starting his new business, and we're going to help him build a website and whatever. But I think that having something like the Finch Market is really, it puts these places on the map. When people are driving down from Montreal to get stuff from you, it's kind of like Marfa, Texas, where Dolce & Gabbana, I think it was, Prada built an empty store and put nothing but dummies in the window, and it's just a building in the middle of nowhere, and people now drive to Marfa, Texas, and so restaurants, diners, mom and pops, bed and breakfast Airbnbs have sprung up around this iconic, I guess it was an art installation, but that's what I'm so proud of you guys for just, bringing this, just the love and the ingredients and the hard work and everything to your original town. I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing.
I do think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go back to their roots. I mean, we're not going Little House on the Prairie here, but we are bringing things back, and we're going to try and help the locals. Like we talked, it's almost impossible for us right now to get a local farmer and use his beef and sell it in our store. There's quite a process involved. But in a year, 2, 3 from now, we're going to hopefully have a farmer's market where the locals can sell their products, whether it be corn on the cob or the berries, flowers, whatever it is that they do. And there's just a lot of rules and regulations that we have to try and follow, but try to find a loophole to still help out the locals at that. Yeah.
Well, I've got a local beef farmer that I'm working with him to try and start to sell his Angus. And then he actually has a passion in Wagyu. So when he found out that I've been to Japan and kind of know Steve, we're actually just had a parking lot conversation that I haven't talked to Susie about yet. But I might end up buying my own cows, and we might just start to do our own Canadian Wagyu, because I just can't find it up here to what I want. I either don't get a good feeling from maybe the people or whatever, or I just don't like the price that I'm going to have to pay for it, one or the other. So I think it just might be more fun just to maybe kind of grow our own. So we're kind of exploring that avenue of it now. So hopefully we might have some Finch Market Wagyu beef in the next few years.
So you heard it here first, TeaFlix viewers, and unfortunately so did Sue. You might have to get a really big bed if they want to come in and sleep at night in the winter.
They're just like puppies, right? Just like puppies.
Kinda. Yeah, George Clooney has a pot-bellied pig in his house in Italy, so I'll be nice.
What's a cow in Canada? Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll have, speaking of red tape and paperwork, we'll have to try and see if Mrs. McCartney's wines can make it across.
Yes.
Yes.
We're working
We
on
got a
finding
chance
out.
to try that. We did get a chance to try that in Houston, and we absolutely loved it. And that
Oh,
was
good.
one thing we did talk about, is how do we get it in our store? Is it possible? So yeah, we would love for that opportunity if it's possible.
We will. Anything is possible. It's just red tape and government stuff. But you know, I think we can probably work through that.
For sure.
Make it work.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today, for joining us on TeaFlix. Everybody go out and check out thefinchmarket.ca, Chef Lumberjack on Instagram,
Yes.
and Sue Stewart also on Instagram. The lovely lady who pulls this all together, no doubt.
Absolutely, she does. My rock.
And
And I just want to
Oh
say
my
hi.
God.
Marty!
Well, we're both in red, Chiefs and Niners. What can
I love it, baby. I love it. Go Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, you're the
So
champ.
nice to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Absolutely.
It was
Me
a great
too. Hopefully-
interview. I'm going to edit this anyway, so you know. You'll
Yeah,
be
no
safe.
worries. No worries.
Excellent.
good.
All
Right
right,
on,
good.
guys.
Well, thanks again.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Thank you.
We love you
And I
lot.
look forward to getting the tea.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's
Sure.
on the way.
should be there any minute.
Wonderful.
All right,
Okay.
darlings. Thanks for your time.
Perfect. All right. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
girls.
Thank you guys.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you very much, folks. That was fabulous, and I know all our guests will have enjoyed it. You'll probably hear from lots of them, and I hope some of them will be able to order things from you and, you know, keep the wheel turning.
Absolutely.
The bank manager's wheels turning.
And
yeah,
we're going to try and get through all the red tape and get Mrs. McCartney's wines available exclusively through the Finch Market. So watch these spaces.
Canada.
Absolutely.
Hooray.
All
Okay,
right.
bye-bye,
Thanks for
everybody.
tuning in. Stay well, stay indoors, love each other, and hashtag don't be a spreader.
Bye-bye. God bless.